This week's episode of the Curious Podcats is brought to you by you, our valued listeners. If there are any topics you would like to hear us talk about, you can submit your suggestions at curious.podcasts@gmail.com. Also, if you want to show us some love and support, why not pop over to our Patreon page at patreon.com/The Curious Podcats. Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of the Curious Podcasts with your hosts Dr. Drucifer and Lawless.
Yo.
So this week we are coming to you live from a beach. Maybe. You can hear the gulls. So we might be at a beach. We don't know. I've spoken to Madam Gem this week. And two bits of news from her. One is Pod, our cat visitor from last week, is actually her familiar. So he was coming in and compiling a report on us. Second is Madam Gem's actually going on holiday for a little bit with her wife. So I won't be seeing her for however long. But in the meantime, we've got Pod in her place, who will turn up at random. We don't know when he's going to turn up, but he'll turn up when he decides it's time for him to turn up. Also, I'm going to start the show off with a question for you, Lawless, from one of our listeners.
Right.
So, the question from John: how are you able to organise guest appearances when we're spending 6 days of the week as a cat?
I've got a really good agent.
That's it.
That's it, yeah. I just say, can we have such and such? And he goes, yeah, I'll see into that. So...
Yeah, but how do you arrange it with the agent when you're a cat for 6 days of the week?
Are you talking like translations?
Yeah, like translations, because, when we are, the only person that we know of who understands us is Madam Gem.
She's not my agent? You ever think about that?
No, I did not, but that would make sense.
Well, there you go, that's why. I didn't just make that up on the spot either.
Right, so Madam Gem is the one who's arranging the guest appearances on our behalf, because you can't
Well,
talk.
I come up with them,
and
then my agent gets in touch with them. It's got connections, like.
Well, it's good to finally have an answer on that one, so there you go, John.
Speaking of which, Sylvester Stallone today.
Is what's happening with him?
He's running a bit late, but I'll be expecting a phone call at an appropriate time when you're talking.
Yes, at an appropriate time when I'm talking. Unfortunately, listeners, this week is going to be a bit of a short episode, we think. I've been doing some computer upgrading, so I haven't had much time, well, next to no time to prepare for this week while getting the new computer set up, and even then I'm still not finished with that yet. But the topic I want to talk about this week is a phenomenon called Shadow People. Now, there's a lot of different theories out there. Well, I say a lot. There's quite a number of theories out there about the origin of Shadow People. From supernatural to sci-fi, and even down to mental health. With the supernatural side of Shadow People is that people are, they're susceptible to seeing beings on the spiritual level. Some people think the Shadow People are malevolent. Some think they're not. But that doesn't mean that the two ideas are mutually exclusive. Some of the Shadow People might be malevolent while others of them aren't.
Yeah.
Some might be a demonic entity. Another one might be a loved one who's watching over you.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just that your perception the way the brain works, it might be that the only way you could perceive these entities, whether they be demonic or a loved one or just someone else who's haunting the area, is as a shadow person. So that's one possibility there. The sort of like sci-fi side of it, or scientific side of it, is that they are sort of like extra-dimensional beings, like maybe people from a parallel universe, where you might be in an area where the barrier is weak between our world and the parallel world, and you can't. Sometimes you will see the person in full, you'll be able to interact with them, but probably most of the time you can't, and you sort of like seeing through the veil between the two Earths, and it only shows as a shadow person, which is something which is kind of touched on in an episode of Doctor Who.
Yes, the ghost shift.
Yes,
Yeah, I was thinking of that.
Yeah, the ghost shift, with the Cybermen. So that's sort of like the basis for the scientific approach to the origin of the Shadow People. That was quite nicely done by the BBC there with that Doctor Who two-parter. But if that was the case, what could be causing it? Is it really just a weakness, that there's weak points in the barrier, or is there something else causing it? Has the other world done something? Have we done something? Now there are theories out there that the large
Hadron Collider.
Well, I was going with that, yes, but I was going to say the large number of sightings, especially in recent times. What has caused it? And it might be, as you said, the Large Hadron Collider at CERN. Because we don't know everything that they're doing there. And there are concerns that that thing could destroy the planet. But what's to say that part of the experiment could be causing a breakdown of the barrier between worlds?
It's got to be.
And that's a perfectly valid. It's perfectly valid to be thinking that.
I mean, if they're trying to recreate the Big Bang, which started life in the whole universe, is it really that hard to believe that if they've done it again on a smaller scale, that they haven't ripped through something, ripped through a, like you say, a parallel universe, or time hopped, or they reckon that's what causes the Mandela effect, because we've jumped between the two, or however many, and it's all just a mess because we've. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's very, very valid. I could certainly see that being a likely possibility. I think we do need to talk more about it as well. Is what goes on at CERN, but I think you have mentioned previously you wanted to talk about CERN.
There's a lot of things about CERN,
but before we go down that rabbit hole, there is the last theory that could be an explanation for shadow people, and that comes down to mental health. Now, me personally, I've seen shadow people, and I actually believe the paranormal, the scientific, and mental health are all that all three of them could be possible. So we're seeing different shadow people for different reasons. I don't think there's just one reason. I think it's quite possible that all three could be the reason for seeing shadow people. Spirits or demons, the barrier between worlds breaking down, but also the mental health reason. Now, what I'm getting at with the mental health, which is something I picked up on when I think back in my 20s, is when your stress levels are that high, especially if you're suffering from depression and anxiety, but and you are really stressed, which in this day and age, people are more stressed than what they used to be. Especially with the capitalist ways of the world. But stress can have adverse effects on the body. I mean, remember a few years ago when my legs kept going numb and I couldn't walk? that was stress. That's all it was down to, was my stress. But prior to that, I was seeing a lot of shadow people out in the corner of my vision.
Mm-hmm.
Just at random, I could be working a night shift, refilling the shelves on the aisles at the store, the store I was working at, and I saw a shadow person walking past.
It's funny you say that, you know. Because my mum used to work in a supermarket,
Mm-hmm.
and there was a ghost. Well, everyone used to see this black shadow, but it was so quick you couldn't really get a really good look of it.
And that's what happened with me that night. Now, I don't think that my experience on that particular night was paranormal, because there's been other cases where I've seen it like that.
Uh-huh.
And at that time, and around that age period for me, that was my mind giving me an early warning that my stress levels are too high, and if I don't take a step back and start looking after myself, I was going to snap.
Mm-hmm.
Again. I have got a lot of symptoms of borderline personality disorder, where I can go down a very self-destructive route.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't feel anything emotion-wise. Thankfully, it hasn't happened for a while since I've become more aware of my mental health. I've been able to take steps to prevent things like that from happening. But because it was happening so much around that period of my life, I think my mind was causing me to have hallucinations to warn me that my stress levels were too high and I need to take a step back and look after myself.
Yeah.
And when I cottoned onto that they were only appearing when I was getting too stressed and I started looking after myself more, they stopped. But there was one experience that I had that to this day I swear was a paranormal incident. Do you want to hear it?
Mm-hmm.
So it was my first ever encounter with a shadow person, and it was most definitely not out of the corner of my eye. So I was probably about 17ish. I was in my teens, mid to late teens.
Uh-huh.
Lying in bed, woke up, and as I opened my eyes, I just saw this figure at the side of my bed. Just, quite clearly the silhouette of a person.
Mm-hmm.
And I couldn't see through it. It was just black. And it wasn't like any type of see-through. It was like solid black mass in the shape of a person standing at the side of my bed as if they were looming down at me.
Yeah.
And as I tried to focus my vision and realising what it was I was seeing, it just shot down right at me, the entire being. It was up off the floor, straight at me. And I felt it, I actually felt the impact of it hit me in the chest.
Mm-hmm.
And it just seemed to disappear into me.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing that got me was that I didn't just see it happening, I felt the impact on my chest as it connected with me.
Mm-hmm.
And to this day, I still swear that was probably some malevolent being trying to possess me, gain control of me. And then after that, that's when like my stress levels were really getting too high, and I was starting to see shadow people out the corner of my vision. But though that's my sort of experiences, I haven't had anything that I would probably class as the scientific approach on a personal level. But I do believe it's a strong possibility.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my bit about shadow people.
Also, I think it's kind of like what type of mood you're in, what type of... Because you do give off a certain vibe when you're in a bad mood. If I'm stressed or... If you kind of go out looking for trouble, you'll always find it.
That's true.
And I do believe that you give off a certain vibe, which probably attracts weird stuff.
That's true. I mean, the malevolent spirits, demonic entities, they do look for people who are in a negative frame of mind.
They're low vibrational beings, isn't they?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because that's how they're able to gain access, is through the negative like emotions and negative mindsets, negative side of the mental health.
Mm-hmm.
But it's easier for them to oppress and then eventually possess somebody.
Anyone who's ever been depressed will know how bad you can get. God, I mean, it's stuff like that's like the least of your worries, really. When you're when you're really bad, when you're suicidal and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, but yeah, it's I definitely do think there's a connection, though.
I think it's all connected.
I think it's all connected. I think we're all just the whole law of attraction and stuff as well. Like, you get what you put out,
Yeah.
and stuff, and I believe it's probably got something to do with that. So you should always try it, even if you're not happy. Just I was always told to stand for the mirror and just say, "You good-looking bastard," or like just smile at yourself. Because when you do stuff like that, it does make you feel better. Even if you don't really feel it, you'll eventually convince yourself that you're happy.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
But the thing to remember, though, where mental health is concerned, is that eventually you are going to have to confront and deal with and get over that. That's like whatever it is that's been bringing you down.
Yeah.
So only saying, only doing it the way that you were just saying there. Yeah, in the moment you can treat the symptom, but you'll never be able to move on until you treat the cause. Otherwise, you're going to be stuck in a never-ending cycle of.
But if you're stuck in a rut, and you know what it's like, you always need something to get you out of it.
Yeah.
Whether it's someone or even just a song comes on the radio, you're like, aye. And it gives you that bit thing, when it gets you out of that rut.
Yeah.
And then, I think once you're on a roll, you kind of forget how bad you are. Do you know what I mean? It's like...
Yeah.
Because, it's caused by you, in a way. So, you should be able to fix it as well, if you know what I mean.
I get what you mean. I get what you mean. Not everyone can fix it themselves.
No, I can't.
I mean, just that's why we're therapists.
Yeah. But really, that should be the reality of it. Like, you should just be able to convince yourself, like, no, I am happy, but it's not always that easy. But it probably can be done to a certain degree.
Yeah, I think it's just popped into my mind here. With what you were saying there, it's something that my dad told me probably about 10 years ago, and he's mentioned it a few times since. Is that there are certain periods, like certain points of time, where it is actually easier to do it.
Yeah, of course.
And it's down to, I think I've mentioned this to you before, but it's down to biorhythms.
Mm-hmm.
So if you can find out about your own personal biorhythm, you can find out when the best point in time is for you to do something, either trying to get yourself out of the rut, to improve your mental health, quit an addiction like smoking, etc. And it's all down to knowing. It all comes out into the biorhythms as knowing when the best point in time is for yourself.
Your brain works on a rhythm, patterns and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're stuck in a depressive state, it's like a needle on a vinyl. Do you know, like a vinyl? What's it called?
Record. Yeah.
And it's stuck in that one groove.
Yeah.
And you just need to get it out of that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like there's certain times of the year for me as well. It's normally about Christmas that I'm at my worst.
Well, again, I think that comes down to the biorhythms that my dad was talking about.
Like, because the brain's not designed to make you happy. It's like designed to make you survive.
Yeah.
It doesn't care if you're happy. It's got one job, and that's to keep you alive.
Yeah.
Fight or flight. Even in some ways, depression is a kind of form of a defense mechanism. in a way, because you kind of block things out and never again. I'll just be this way because it's easier. You know, it's
No, I totally agree. I mean, you know my life story of me dealing with depression, especially as a kid.
yeah,
And about how I shut down. I shut down on an emotional level because that was my brain's way of protecting me from all the bullying and other stuff that was going on in my life that I just couldn't cope with. So yeah, I mean, what you're saying there is absolutely
so
right.
in a way, now that you're an adult, your brain is still the same brain.
Yeah.
So you're in that situation, it's going to put you back in that frame of mind. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But for anyone who is listening, we're not doctors, we're not therapists, we're just...
People,
if you do feel it, I'd go to doctors, please, or talk to someone.
You know, there are medical professionals out there to help. You know, that they're talking therapies as well as said your doctors. You know, we're speaking from our own personal experiences and battles with our own mental health.
Yeah.
As well as the mental health of family and friends. But no, by no means, we're not medical professionals. But if you feel like you need help, that you're struggling, please speak to your doctor, speak to someone from the mental health profession. You know, the help is there for you. You know, you are not alone. You are most definitely not alone. Okay, well, it looks like since... Oh, right, okay, yes. So, Lawrence has been and got a drink of water. But to ensure no rattling, well, I think you might have just picked up... The microphone might have picked some up there. But to avoid it, I'm in charge of the bottle that he's going to be drinking out of. So, it won't be happening. Right. Well, that went off on a tangent I was not expecting.
It went a bit dark, but, you know... I think we could all relate.
I think probably 99% of people can relate.
Definitely.
Because there are going to be that 1% of people who, you know...
There's even people who are depressed and don't identify as it.
Yeah, and there's people who have just got the sort of the type of personality where they can't be affected by anything negative. They are genuinely in a state of constant positiveness.
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
I mean, confidence.
They're annoying.
Is just believing that you're confident. Really.
Yeah, the only person who can give you confidence is yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So it all comes down to you as the person.
Yeah. Well, we haven't got long left, really, because we didn't plan out. But that went. That kind of made a bit of time up, I must admit.
Yeah.
But I have got some fan mail for him.
Fan mail?
Aye. Oh, wait there, I forgot. Hello, Sly? Yeah, you on your way? Oh, you got the fight. An old woman.
She called Adrian.
No. Well, you shouldn't shout bingo if you haven't won. That's just asking for trouble, that. She had a mean uppercut. Most of them do around here. And a handbag full of bricks. Well, I think you brought that on yourself, mate. We'll try again, but I will go to the hospital, maybe get your arm sewn back on. Yeah, we'll try again. Nah, it's fine. Right, bye.
That serves him right.
You shouldn't shout bingo if you haven't won.
No.
It won't be a mistake.
Especially not in this area.
No. CERN.
Was that CERN?
CERN? I said concern, but now you've mentioned CERN. What do you know about CERN?
Switzerland, Large Hadron Collider. As you mentioned before, they're trying to recreate the Big Bang. They're trying to discover the God particle, which is seen as a bit on the heretical side.
I'll tell you what fucks me off, right?
Ooh, language.
is that I've got to apply for planning permission to put a fence up, right, in my garden. But them fuckers can create a black hole, potentially.
Yeah.
And no one says a word about it.
You have a very valid point.
Say, oh, that tree is blocking my sunlight. Cut it down. Oh, this machine might suck the whole universe in and kill her. That's alright.
I think. Oh no, that was NASA. I was just about to say that the discovery of how to travel at warp speed, but that was a NASA thing, not a CERN thing.
What's to say, right? But they're not trying to break the veil and bring something in, or someone.
This is very true. Ooh, you know, it's just made me think. I know this is your topic to talk about, but it's just made me think. Remember the Montauk Project?
Yes.
And specifically the Montauk Chair.
Yes.
And about how they were supposed to have opened a portal, the creature came in and tore the lab up. Now, I obviously believe the Montauk Project was fake. That it never happened. Purely because, well, not purely because, but I have a strong reason. A strong reason for me to believe the Montauk Project was fake was because the Philadelphia experiment is very largely tied into the founding of the Montauk Project, and the Philadelphia experiment has been exposed as a hoax. But what if someone's read the files of the Montauk Project, real or fake, and they've decided to create their own version of it with a Large Hadron Collider?
Well, they were trying to find the God particle, which was called the Higgs boson.
Oh, yes.
Because they didn't quite know what it was, so they just named it. They didn't know what exactly they were looking for, so they just give it a name of Higgs boson. So when they found it, it's like that's the God particle. But what's to say they haven't created life, you know? Like, there's no to say that they brought something in and just not told her. I mean, the world's went fucking crazy these last couple of years.
I mean, they might be trying to create sort of like a pocket universe. You know, like you said about creating life, maybe they create a pocket universe and they're looking in and seeing how things evolve there. Ooh. Or what if the LHC is somehow connected to the simulation theory?
Oh, simulation theory is great. I love it. To think I'm in some kind of simulation, like whoever's got the control off of me, like fuck off. Like,
yeah,
I need some cheat codes. Just the money cheat would do.
Yeah, instead they'll hear you say that. Like, nope. Instead, I'm going to make you get on a horse, ride along, having a conversation with someone. The horse smacks into a rock, you go flying, and when you get back on the horse, you're like, what was I talking about again?
I take it you've seen my YouTube channel.
I saw the video, yeah.
Right, well, on that note, today's been a bit serious, really. So, we've got some fan mail.
Oh, yeah, you mentioned that.
Aye. Yeah. And it's from Jenny Beaverlicker from Hemel Hempstead. She's 56 and a widow. So, hello, Jenny. It starts, I have been looking for a podcast in my spare time since my recent retirement and the passing of my husband, Wazza. So when I found your podcast, I was pleasantly surprised because I like podcasts and cats. So, but upon listening, I was disappointed due to the lack of pods and cats. Although, on a positive note, Richie has a voice on par with Morgan Freeman and the knowledge as great as Stephen Hawkins. Now bear in mind I didn't write this. This is someone else. I don't know Drew, and I have never met him, but I just get the feeling that his tits smell like dog food. Hate the show. Love Richie. P.S. Why is Joe a wanker?
Well, that was a very colourful fan mail. Thank you very much, Jenny. And all I have to say about the smell of my tits is, given what Lawless said in a previous episode about my tit smell, about my tit sweat, since when does dog food smell like sweat?
Have you smelled dog food?
I was about to say as a kid I ate dog food, but actually no, I didn't. It was cat food.
Both disgusting. I've tried both.
Bear in mind, I was like 3 or 4. You know that really curious age where you put anything and everything in your mouth, and I ate some cat food out of the cat's bowl. You know, I think it was Hoagie. Yeah, it would have been. No, it was Sophie. It was Sophie. We didn't even have Dennis yet at that point. My mum put the food out for Dennis. He was, but Sophie, she was the black cat we had. You know, the one that was dubbed the demon cat by everyone. Yeah, my mum put the food down, and I got down, and she kind of, I can't remember it. She kind of looked at me. She's like sat back. Is it? Well, if you want to try it, try it. It actually tasted nice.
It smells nicer than what it tastes.
Oh, definitely.
So, anyways, speaking of Morgan Freeman, I'm going to get him next week.
Morgan Freeman next week. Ooh.
Oh, I think I might be the part of. I mean, Sylvester Stallone. Come on.
I told you that wasn't going to... I knew he was...
I got him. It's just an unfortunate series of events that leads up to these people not turning up.
I told you last week we wouldn't be able to get him.
I got him. He just didn't make it.
Therefore we didn't get him.
Why don't you shove a pen down your dick?
Ow. It's not very nice.
I think... Oh, right. Well, actually, that's what I was going to say.
Oh yeah, about Morgan Freeman.
No. Right. So, do you know the song Hotel California?
Yes.
Who's it by?
I don't know.
Oh, fucking hell. Right, well, it's either The Eagles or Eagles. Who do you think?
Well, I would have to say the Eagles, because I've only ever heard of the Eagles.
Yeah, it's not. It's Eagles.
Huh.
Now, I don't know if that's a Mandela effect or people are just... Sometimes people put the before a band name for some reason. Yeah, it's definitely just Eagles.
Yeah,
and then it's
I think it's one of those things where something is on... Well, you know, where we add words into the name of something,
yeah,
which aren't supposed to be there. Oh, it's a song by the Eagles. Rather than saying it's a song by Eagles, it's a song by the Eagles. Because saying it's a song by Eagles, it doesn't sound right. It doesn't
sound like there's a group of Eagles on a stage.
No, because then you would still say the Eagles. It's because of the way the English language is.
Shit.
Yeah. But another classic example of us adding words in that aren't really meant to be there, but because of how the English language is, we say them and then we end up thinking, oh, well, that's the right way to say it. Like, they're called the Eagles, when in fact they're just called Eagles. And another classic example of that, when you put your van card into the ATM?
Yes.
What do you type in? Not the specifics. What do you call what you type in?
Pin.
Yeah, a pin. What do most people say?
Number.
Pin number. But what does PIN stand for?
Don't know.
Personal identification number. So if you're saying PIN number, you're saying personal identification number. So you're saying number twice. And again, it's because of the way the English language is, regional dialects or what have you. We do end up adding in extra words. Was that your attempt at a Mandela effect?
No. Just someone mentioned it the other day. Okay. And when you mentioned the Mandela effect, I was thinking,
if that was a Mandela effect, it was a shit one.
Oh shit, you fucking hole, man. Don't think I've really looked at them this week because I was more. I've been looking at other things
Alright.
like dirty pictures and stuff. I see if I can try and think of one off the top of my head.
So is it only the one fan mail
Yes, this
Yeah.
week anyway.
this week?
But I'm pretty sure we might start getting them every week.
That would be nice.
Just a guess, like. But if you wanna write in, it's it's an email address. It's called I don't give a fuck at gmail / not gonna read.
Or you can send it to the real email address, curious.podcats@gmail.com.
Or that one. Or shout out to Craig, aka CJ Fandango, aka Nana Dave.
Oh, well, there you go, Craig.
Thanks for listening. Is anything? What's that? Oh, my dad joke.
Yeah, because you said you were going to do the joke this week.
My dad joke. Okay. Right. I need to say it in my head first just to make sure I get it right because I'm not very good at telling jokes. So.
Well, you're usually funnier than me.
Right. My wife caught us cross-dressing and she says she was so disappointed in us that she was going to divorce us. I was so mad that I packed her clothes and left.
That was a good one. It was bad, but it was a good one.
Yep.
Okay, well, I think it's time for Word of the Week.
Go on then.
Now, I actually thought of this word last week when I was talking about the vernaculars. You know, when I was talking about a possible word of the week further down the line. You were like, nope.
Vaguely, I was slipping in and out of sleep at the time.
I know my voice is so ASMR for you, but the word that I got curious about, so I looked it up to see if it was actually a word. It turned out it wasn't, but I did find an alternative with a very, very similar spelling, and that is funicular. That's fun, FUNICULAR, and it's usually in relation to like a rope or the tension of the rope, mainly dealing with the cables for cable cars.
Aye.
Like maybe like the local metro system, the overhead cables. So funicular would be when you're talking about the tension of the overhead cables that the power's running through.
Right. That's a good one.
Yeah.
What do you have mine?
I do, yes.
Fudge. You can eat it.
Oh, fudge. I do love some fudge. I haven't had any for ages.
Good.
All the more for you. Right, well, I think on that note, we are going to call it for this week.
Aye.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a bit shorter than what we've been doing the last couple of weeks. Again, that was just due to lack of time for preparation for reasons like
Your stupid computer.
which is now there we go. Episode 6 is bleeding through. It's no longer a super computer. You know, it's very nicely upgraded now. Yeah, the parts that were in it were like from 10 years ago, and I hadn't realised it was that old. I was like, oh, I need to get upgrading. So now it's running very smoothly. The fan isn't going at a million miles a minute. So yeah,
I'll have to make some up next week for while I'm busy. I need to watch me duck or something.
Oh, that's an idea that we could do on Minecraft.
Shut up. Right.
Just build a giant duck. I don't think we've ever done that, have we?
No, we're not gonna. Right. Thanks everyone for listening.
Yep. Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.